Hey there, this is video podcast number three in the series of discussing myths about software development. I have no idea how many I went through. I wish I had numbered them, but we went through a number of myths in the first video and the second one. If you haven't given that a watch, you may want to watch that before you come here, or do it vice versa. That's all right too. They all mutually exclusive from each other, but you might get better context of the way, right? So we were talking about a fast-paced environment and what that meant. Whether how it sometimes I was just trying to say that it could mean many things to many people, right? It may not always have a positive connotation. While you want things to be fast-paced, how you put it, people have to go with that interpretation in an interview or at work by virtue of what you do and your actions, and not by using those words. Because fast-paced could actually be misconstrued, and it could mean many things, right? So just because someone says it's a fast-paced environment, it does not mean it's the place you want to be, right? Maybe it's a place that someone else wants to be, but maybe it's not for you. That's not to say that you do things any slower wherever you end up being, right? We all have to do things as quickly as possible, because work expands to fill the time available. So give yourself the least amount of time you think you should need, and then if it takes a bit longer, so be it, but don't give yourself like 10 times more time, because then you're going to just stretch the work and it's going to make life extremely boring, right? And life is short as well. You don't want to spend all your time doing that one little thing. There's plenty of fish to fry. The last, so that is a myth. Fast paced, cool, maybe not, right? Doesn't mean that. Last but not least, and this is a very tricky one, working on cutting edge technologies, right? I don't know if it's the last one, but regardless, right? So cutting edge technologies, when someone says that, it means they're working on the latest and greatest stuff. Today it could be TypeScript or React or Flutter or Mongo or Cassandra and something else, and tomorrow it's something else altogether. Things change all the time, right? So cutting edge is good. I mean, I would be a hypocrite if I said otherwise, because I thrive in doing stuff that I've not done before. I actually pick up work if it's using a technology either I can make a decision on. A lot of projects I get to choose just because I do most of it from scratch. But when I'm working with clients and companies that are already in production and I have to use what they have, I try to make a pick. If someone pays me more, but actually I have to do stuff that I've done many times in the past, I would shy away from it, just because yeah, sure, I can do it, but I want to do something different. So I would pick something that's perhaps even a shorter project, perhaps pays a little bit lesser, but I still want to do it, right? So yeah, I'm all for cool stuff, like cutting edge technologies. But the myth here is, if someone's not doing it, right? If someone's not working on the latest and greatest technology or the version of that technology, it doesn't mean they're doing boring stuff. And I can tell you by experience, there are times I've done things that were probably 2 years behind in the sense there were other nicer, cooler things that had actually shown up in the market. That doesn't mean I drop what I do and I shift gears. No, the interest and the challenges and the complexity of the problem that you solve. You could take you could write code in C, right, which pretty complicated, obviously, but it's not the newest of technologies, absolutely not, right? But it could be a whole lot more interesting than writing, say, TypeScript code. I mean, I love writing TypeScript, by the way, but I'm just saying as a random example. So it only depends. Like, I could create, I mean, I've done TypeScript work where it was not the most complex of problems, right? So it's all right. So what's the big deal about it, right? It could be a React TypeScript project that actually is pretty ordinary, right? But then there could be some other project that's not the latest technology necessarily, but it is actually a very complex problem. So it keeps your brain ticking a whole lot more than something that has a cool technology but actually is not a complex problem. So what I'm trying to say here is, the complexity of the problem, the depth of what you're solving is a whole lot more important than the stack itself. Now, with that said, if you can solve complex problems using newer stacks, that's what I would do. That's what I try to do all the time. But if you have to make a compromise, there are times you have to. I would recommend that you lean in the direction of more complex problems than cooler technologies. That's not to say that you start doing stuff in COBOL, right? I mean, no offense if you're doing that stuff. I don't know, maybe it's still around. But I'm just saying that you have to kind of draw the balance, right? Just because someone's doing cool latest technologies doesn't mean their work is more interesting than yours. So I think this is a good list of myths that we've gone over, right? I'm sure I can think of more. And I told myself I was going to speak at a very even pace. So, my accent doesn't come across as strongly as it probably does when I'm actually speaking at this pace. But once I turn on the camera, two things happen. One is I'm generally not my natural self. I most certainly become a whole lot more boring on camera than I'm in real life. Now with this video, I think I've done a little bit better because I think I've actually been a little more myself, but not all the way there. But the other videos where I'm super mellowed down and very calm and composed, with completely not animated, and talking stuff with no passion. That's very pretentious, but I don't do it intentionally. It's just because I turn the camera on and then that mode kicks in somehow. I'm working towards getting off of it to being my natural self. I want to believe I've done a little bit better, tiny bit better in this one. Anyways, I want to speak slowly. I want to go through each myth one after the other, and maybe I have even a nice slide and all of that stuff. But when I start talking, it's just that you have so much to say, and you're not like I'll probably end this video with an unrelated reference. My native tongue is and by the way, the myth part is over, right? So if you don't want to watch this anymore, if you tuned in to watch it just for the myth, this is the time you can just hit stop. But if you still have the extra 3 minutes, you may want to humor me here. My native tongue is Tamil. I love my native tongue as much as I love English. That's what we speak at home. If it's not technology, I speak in my native tongue. But if it's engineering, I don't know how to think engineering in my local language, my native tongue. So I think in English and speak in English. But regardless, right now that I've given a background to this whole thing, I've come even closer to hitting this length on this video as well. So my apologies. I think maybe this is good enough. Maybe my rambling can go on to the next video. But hopefully you enjoyed some part of this video. If you have any questions, if you have specific questions about these myths and why I think they are myths and there's not much truth associated with them, feel free to let me know, right? I'll be more than happy to explain. But I think the last piece of advice I'll give you before I end the video is ask yourself what you enjoy doing, right? What your heart beats for, what you're committed to do, what your passion is, and find make all the effort to find that, because it's very important, right? Because you can, a lot of times, you end up, it's like you're on a boat and you're sailing and you're used to it, your life keeps going and you have more and more experience built on that boat or in that type of sail, and you don't want to shift gears, and that's not necessarily a good thing. Just get out of your comfort zone and challenge yourself. There's plenty of cool stuff out there that you need to do, that there's help needed for, right? Whether it's UI, whether it's middleware, whether it's database, whether it's API, whether it's cloud, whether it's elsewhere, whether it's SQL, NoSQL, strongly typed, no type languages, compiled languages, interpreted languages. There's a gamut of things that can be done, and none of it is boring. The beauty of software engineering is it's anything but boring. So if you find yourself doing software development and you're actually either you don't find the passion or the zeal or the enthusiasm in you or the commitment, it could be one of many reasons. One is you're working at the wrong place or doing the wrong thing. Even you might be at the right place but doing the wrong thing, or it's just not your cup of tea. Sometimes you have to accept it, right? But hopefully it is. Because it's a beautiful thing to do. It's super exciting. You can never get bored of writing code or solving problems. So you would not be wrong if you actually end up choosing this as a career. Don't let anything deter you, right? None of those, the other side of the myth where if you don't have those things, you're not living in a cool city, not working in a huge cool company, not doing any of these things. Don't let that discourage you. You can still do wonders no matter where you are at. Take that first step and do it today. I mean, it's not meant to be a motivational video. I'm not a motivational speaker, but I do feel strongly about software development, and hopefully some part of it resonated in this video. Thanks for watching, and sign up on snowpal.com and manage your projects better. Keep it simple and download our apps as well. Thank you.